Say what's up. This is my dad. We're live. Nobody's in the room yet, but they're going to be coming. For all the replay viewers, you already know the drill. You can still hard away. Tap, tap, tap the screen. We appreciate that, of course. I'll show you what we have going on today. For those that are just joining, you know the drill. Please heart away throughout. Tap that screen. You can also tap that little person on the bottom, and what that will do is that will allow you to share, invite people, and do a bunch of stuff. So we have the Bulldogs who are hanging out with us. We have Cole, who we're going to be working here. Maggie's hanging out. We have Gus, who we're working. Soko, and then we have Timu, who's here as well. So I'm going to prop this up. There's my dad. Hold on, I want to show you guys my pops. All right, so we have a garage, a mechanic place over here. He brings his car here. So, all right, so I'm going to set this up. Whoops. And we'll show you what we're doing today. We're also going to get into the treadmill and how I use this beyond physical exercise, right? I'm always talking about the treadmill and how you can be creative with that. So I'll show you what we have going on. I'm going to set up this tripod here, and then we should be good to go. Let's see, is the heat bumping? Yes, it is, so I can't use that right now. I am going to set up. We're going to get started here in just a second. Lots of dogs in the tread. I'm going to put this over here. Almost getting started, guys. Almost getting started. Line this up here for those of you that are just joining. What's going on, everybody? We have the dogs here. We're going to get started. Please, please, please heart away throughout. I appreciate the hearts. It's the least you guys can do for the free information that we're going to get started with. Let me tighten this up here a bit. Set this up. Almost there. It's not too shabby. I think that looks good, guys. For the loyal ones that stick around to the end, we will do a Q&A. We're gonna do a Q&A for sure. Back this up a bit. Okay, this looks pretty good. Okay, please, 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 please heart throughout. Keep hearting. Means a lot, right? You can also share. So, we worked with Gus and Cole last night. For those of you that watched the Periscope session, you got to see what we were doing. I did mention that we were going to be using the, who's that? Maggie. Okay, cool. Thank you. I did mention that we were going to be using, doing a session and using Cole to teach an out command. Because a lot of people have been asking about that out. We're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how we do that. But I do want to show you how we're using the treadmill beyond physical exercise, right? So here's the thing. Possessive dog, aggressive dog. With humans and dogs, got kicked out of daycare, right? These dogs did a board and train. They had similar issues with dog aggression issues and stuff. They're fine. They just come for our train and play Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Maggie's fine. She was a nervous, insecure dog. If you follow us on YouTube, Maggie's owner is Tigger's owner before he passed away. He's like our third or fourth video. Check that out. That's actually really worth his owner only brings his dogs to us no matter what. So Maggie hangs out with us. She also helps us rehab dogs. We have my dog who just broke a place. Soko, place. Down. Down. My dog, we have Gus, who's also here for aggression issues. The owner has just had twins. He has possessive aggressive issues. He gets a little bratty with people, as well as dogs sometimes. And then we have Timu, who is dog and human aggressive, right? So the reason we're using the treadmill is because it's almost like a moving placemat. Teaching place, teaching the dog to hold a position in general works on their impulse control because they'll do it and then they'll say, well, I want to do this right now. And when they when you disagree and you say, hey, you can't do that, you have to hold your position, it in the beginning might be stressful, but it teaches them that they have the ability to choose an option other than their initial impulse. That's very important in the world that we live in. It's very important that they can smell something and not act on it. It's very important that they can see something and not act on it. It's very important that they can hear something and not act on it. Before they can make that choice, they have to know that it's an option. So he has a job, which is helping him with physical exercise, not a crazy pace, but to stay focused on what's going on here. If I had him on a placemat, he might want to lunge and attack dogs, he might want to chill out, but teaching him how to just do this while other things are going on is also helping him to feel more comfortable. So that's just one creative way that we're using the treadmill. There's so many things to use this. A lot of times people see us working dogs on the treadmill and they're like, well, I'd rather just walk my dog, or I'd rather just do that. And don't get me wrong, we walk our dogs. It doesn't take the place of the walk. But we're also working with dog behavior, rehabilitation, a lot of behavior issues, and we use it beyond physical physical stimulation. We do a lot of mental stuff, and it really helps us with the training for what we do, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to work this guy. We're going to work him for some food. We're going to work him on place. We're going to work him on recall, and then we're going to give him his food bowl, and I'm going to show you how we call him off. Now, because you have a possessive dog, it's important before I work on stepping in and teaching out that I have a dog that can actually be called off of food. I personally would just step right in and do that, but we want to make things less confrontational for our clients. So the rule that we have for them is before you step in and you apply spatial pressure and you physically challenge a dog, even if it's just stepping in without touching them, when you have a dog that would snap at you, you need to be able to call the dog off. You want the dog to get to a point where he's happy to make the choice to stop eating and actually turn to you. So this is the one situation where we use something of higher value. That's going to be a freeze-dried beef liver, because we want the dog happy to make the choice. When he hears my voice, when he feels a little bit of leash pressure or remote pressure, he's like, oh, I know what that means, and we get an enthusiastic, happy choice. Once we get that, we transfer that pressure, which brings him toward us, to spatial pressure with maybe leash and remote, which is the same thing as backing a dog up onto place. So prior to these steps, the steps of progression is you have a dog that can hold the place. When he starts to get off, you can successfully step in, and you have a dog that who is getting off will actually get back on just with your spatial pressure. You can help with remotes. If need be, you can help with leash. But little by little, you get to a point where they don't need that anymore. It might be just remote and a note and spatial pressure. Eventually, you don't need the remote and spatial pressure, and you get a dog that can do that. The dog that can do that is the dog that understands the language. So that way, when you have a food bowl, something of higher value, and a dog that has a greater risk of being more of a jerk, now you can use the language to show what you want. And the same concept is, when the dog makes that choice, you don't try to get all macho man Randy Savage on them and say, yeah, back up off of the food. You get them happy to make that choice. They make that choice even if it's by mistake, even if I pop a leash and I get them to do it for them. Good job! And I give them something higher value. Now what happens with that is it changes the brain. They go from thinking, man, I don't like being challenged, I really don't like that. The next time I might want to snap at you, to, whoa, that was weird, that caught me off guard. But when I do this, I get food. And it's better than what I'm eating, maybe I like that. So that's just the concept in a nutshell. I'll get into this now. So what we're going to do is we're going to work him here in a second. And because he's over there not paying attention to me, not really expecting a recall, we're going to give him a call here in just a second. Cole here. Good boy. Come on, buddy. Good job. Let's go. Good boy. So the reason, yes, good job. The reason I turned around is because when I recall, I want a dog to really come in. And if he's over there, I want to use my body and a little bit of remote to get him to kind of chase me. Because if he chases me, it's almost like I have an invisible leash where I'm bringing him to me. And the luring with the food helps with that, right? So if I'm walking over this way, let's go, buddy. Hold here. Good boy, so good. Good job, bud. Good job. So we're just going to work with first move, get in a nice little rhythm here. Cole here. Good. Good boy. Cole, please. Go, please. Yes. So in general, before you challenge a dog for an out command, you want a dog comfortable with taking direction in general. If you can't get a dog comfortable with taking direction, they're not going to take direction from you in a more challenging situation. They're just not. Right? Cole here. Good boy. Yes. You can probably, what's up? You can probably get it done, right? But the thing is with that is you run the risk of shutting down a dog a little bit more, and you run the risk of like getting bit. For me, I can do it, but it's more dangerous for the average everyday client that doesn't work with dogs every day, right? So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Now this is something that's important too. Really using this space to pull the dog in. More often than not, people's body is not in tune with what the dog is giving. They don't know when to pull back, when to step up. They're just not in touch. What you want to create, you don't want to walk all the way back here to get a dog to come to you when pulling away has no relevance. So you can easily turn a 4-foot recall into a 10-foot recall by starting closer, then backing up. So if I say, Cole here, good boy! Now I'm bringing him, I'm bringing him here. I can bring him closer if I want to. Yes! Good job, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. Right? So we're going to work him a little bit here, and then we're going to get into that food stuff here in just a second. Please. Yes. Good boy. Good job. Now when I say good is when he stays on. Place. Good. Very nice, bud. Very nice. So I can walk away. Right? And I'm going to show you this if he's actually going to break. Because I'm not going to say anything, but my body's going to say it. So if I do this, good. I'm going to mark that. Because he didn't hear what he needed to hear, right? So when you get to a little bit more advanced step, you can start to test them and really challenge them. I can do something like this. Good. He already knows the drill. Now if I speak and I say it, we'll wait till he finishes here. And I say, Cole here. Good boy. Good job. Yes. Really nice. You're in pretty good shape. Now what I'm going to do, everybody, yes, is we're going to call him off. The way that we call him off to be sure, Cole here, good boy, so good, yes. All right, that's it in a nutshell. I've done this with him before, so I'm going to kind of step it up a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to out him. For safety reasons, if I'm not sure how a dog is going to act, I'll put him more in front. I don't want to take a guess. When I say take a guess, I don't want to hope that just with remote that he's going to listen. I want to know that if I ask for something, I'm putting myself in a position where I can follow through and get to what I actually want. If I can't, I'm not going to ask for it, right? So if I put the food here, yes, and I let him eat for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I say, pull out. Good boy! Good job. Good job. Really good. Nope. Right? So you get them enthusiastic and happy. We're going to wait there for a second. Questions that people are going to be asking is, am I using the remote? The way that I use, the answer is yes. The way that I use the remote is not high level popping the dog. It's the same way that I use the leash. It's the same way that I use my body. I can use it softly. If I need to, I can get firm here, I can get firm here, I can get firm here. But we always start low and use sort of what we need, assuming the dog already knows the language, right? This dog knows the language, so if I need to go higher and guide him how to do it, I wouldn't do it with just this, because he doesn't know it that well, just this. Because he knows the leash well and my body pretty well, those three things together help him to be successful and get him to understand what I want, right? So, yes, we'll let him eat, we'll give him a second. Out. Good boy, so good. And that time he backed up quick. Now to show you a remote, we're using a level 4 on him. This is actually the same exact level that I'm using when I'm recalling him, that I'm using when I'm setting into place. We're not talking high levels. I don't start feeling this on a comfort pad until anywhere between an 18 to a 22. And I'm talking about, yeah, I kind of feel that, right? So for those of you that are unfamiliar, or might have heard the nonsense about like remote collars and stuff. So that's pretty much it. Just for that practice, I'm probably going to go ahead and give you the rest. Because that's all I really wanted to show for you guys. There's a couple things that we're doing. I'm able to train him. Gus gets to hold recall. Timu, who's not good with dogs, gets to be around this. When we first did this, he was whining and trying to hop over the treadmill and stuff. So he's learning. He's at a nice, calm pace, right? Distractions and everything at the window. This is basically what we're doing. He's gonna not be next because he's gonna treadmill. So we'll treadmill him. He'll drink some water, rest for a little bit. Like you can hear that whining, right? Nope. So he's gonna drink some water, rest for a little, and then he's the dog that I'm gonna work for food while this guy is treadmilling, and then this guy gets to rest, right? No, yeah, so that's the question. What's up, JBZ? That's the question that I answered. I am using remote. You see, now a little bit of nervousness. That was tough there. He was like, oh man, that was kind of new. That guy kind of freaked him out a bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if he wants some water. I'm gonna call him over here. Cole, come on, buddy. Oh, good boy. Come here. Want some water? Go ahead. You might not want water. You want to finish this up? Okay, finish. So yes, we did use the remote, but here I used the remote on the same level. Like I wasn't relying on the remote to do it for me. The remote is a communication tool. All that I'm teaching the dog is that there's different levels of communication, right? My level actually didn't even fluctuate. It might have, but because we've done everything right, because we've recalled them, we've raised levels slightly when we recall him off of food and then given him food, we don't have to mess around with levels so much anymore because he feels it and he knows what to do. So it's kind of showing him, it's like, listen, I can kind of go high with you, but I'd rather not. Like, I can speak to you here all the time, but I'd rather just talk to you like this. If I can talk to you like this, I think you'd appreciate it. I think I'd appreciate it, right? So that's basically what we're doing. It's just a communication tool. So I use spatial pressure, I use leash, and I use remote, but I wasn't relying on one thing or the other. If anything, I'm relying on what the dog knew the most. It's extremely rare in my training. You don't allow it. Like, just simply don't allow it. Like, if your dog is always gunning them, have your dog hold place while other dogs play with toys, right? That's a manners thing. That's a respectful issue. Where was I going? It's extremely rare, the way that we train, that a dog knows the remote collar above, actually probably never, above other things. The dog will know leash pressure, the dog will know luring for food, the dog will know spatial pressure and body language way before they know remote. So if I'm teaching something, I'm gonna rely a little more heavier on those things, and even my voice, than I would the remote, because the remote is the thing that they know the least. So I'm not using that as like my go-to. I'm not using it as I have to like really crank this thing up. That's not what we're doing, right? That's why what we do works. That's why when you see dogs on a remote collar, they're happy and enthusiastic. We're not shutting dogs down. We're not correcting into compliance or shocking into compliance or doing any of that nonsense. That's for trainers that don't know what they're doing, right? We actually have the dogs performing the behaviors before we even use the remote collar. So that's important for people to know. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call him. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to place him over here. Cole, here. Come on, buddy. Oh, good job. Come on. So him just taking direction is a super, super good job, bud. You did so good. Him just taking direction is really, really important. He's not used to that. He's a snappy dog, a nervous dog, insecure. So now let's see where the big guy is. What's up, Big T? See, he's on a loose leash too. He's tied up, but he's not dragging. We don't allow for dragging pressure. If he was a dog that was walking back and he feels this, he corrects himself. So we teach dogs to walk on loose pressure. When they feel pressure, they adjust. And we put them on a prong collar, not a flat buckle collar where they can choke or anything like that. We want them to feel minimal pressure, adjust themselves, and walk on slack. That's very important. So I'll check this guy. He's on 23 minutes. For this big guy, that's actually okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to detach him. I'm going to put this down for 2 seconds, guys. Sorry. Bear with me. I'm just making a leash switch for this guy. I'm going to stop this, right? I'm going to sit him. Sit. Good job. Let's go, bud. See if he wants some water. Bring him over here. Keep harding, guys. Keep harding. Yeah, bud. Good. So I'll do a little Q&A because I'm going to get started feeding these guys, and we're pretty much going to do the same thing. One dog's going to be in the treadmill while I let him rest. So I'm going to put the big guy, Timu, in place after he finishes drinking his water. He's going to rest for about 5 minutes. I'm going to set up Gus in the treadmill, and then we're pretty much going to go through the same thing, except I'm not going to be outing Gus or Timu. We're just going to work on regular fun recall, regular fun place, just the basics, right? Taking direction. Dogs have to learn how to be okay with taking direction before you try to give them direction in areas that they really struggle with. Have them struggle in areas that are easier first, right? That's pretty much it. Place. So that's it. If you guys have questions, ask away. Answer a couple of those. Hey, sit. Good. Down. And now that he's treadmilled, he's a little bit more tired. Were all the commands you teach? Okay, that's a great question. So all the thank you, Catherine, I appreciate that. Promotion, ask that again in case I forget it. And I still use the remote collar on Soko. So the commands that I teach, he almost got off a place. He was like, you calling me? The commands that I teach, it's really only 5 to 6 commands. So we teach sit, we teach down, we teach place, we teach 2 forms of like recall, which is here and let's go. And then if need be, we teach out. So 5 to 6 commands during our board and train. We keep it basic, right? Dog, you don't really need to know much else. Those are with our board and train dogs. And then with that are also the markers. Markers are not commands. Markers are just info to help bring clarity to the information that you're giving, right? So the 3 markers that we use are good, yes, and nope, right? So yeah, stay is not a command. Stay is implied. The closest thing that we use to a stay would maybe be good. And that's pretty much it. What is the difference between good and yes? So yes is a release. Good. So then there's good girl or like good boy. Usually we use good girl or good boy when we want to drive something up. It's like good girl, good boy as they're coming. Let them know like you're on your way. A specific good is like that's it, complete. Like not complete, but that's what I want right there. I'm marking specifically. It's like a click. What you just did right there is what I liked, right? The yes is your job is done. Come get your paycheck. Come check out. Come get your basic. Hey, if we're talking from a food point of view, on good, I will bring you room service because I want you to keep doing what you're doing. On yes, you will come to take the food, right? In the beginning, I feed for everything, 100% for good. Down the road, I no longer need to feed for good because good is what is known as like a conditioned response. The dog already knows. It's almost like getting fed because he knows that means he's one step closer to getting his yes. So there's no longer any need to feed. Just like for those of you that watch that watch like the science studies and stuff, when they tested with the monkeys that knew that when the light came on, they knew that that was their time to work and pull the levers. And if they pulled the levers while the light was on, then they got the banana. And when they tested the dopamine levels, they wanted to see, okay, when are the monkeys getting the most excited? And people thought it was maybe when they were working or where they got the food. But once they knew, dopamine levels showed that they got the most excited when the light came on. Meaning that there was no food. The light is the good. There was no food when the light came on. In fact, you had to work and then get the food, but they got the most excited because it meant good things were coming, right? So once it's a conditioned response, you no longer need to feed anymore, right? Okay, so yeah, so that's the next question. So, well, it depends. It depends on how long the dog knows it. We do phase out the e-collar in regular everyday situations. I can tell you right now, I can walk my dog without a remote collar, like in New York City, which is a pretty big deal. Like you see all these videos of people that walk and stuff, and they're in the middle of nowhere with no distractions, or like there's a garbage can that's a distraction. Like I live in New York City, so my level of distractions are like real deal. Like that's not even bragging, it's just a reality, right? So I can walk my dog off leash and actually take him hiking off leash and stuff, and I don't need it. But if I know that I need a sure shot, and there's going to be situations where I can't really take a gamble or a risk, and my dog might be in a situation where he needs more help from me, he needs more information. For example, we're hiking off leash and I know that there's bear, I know that there's deer, chipmunks, porcupines that I'll let him chase, but some things that I won't, and I want to call him off. I don't want to say that my dog is 90% and then have that 10% be the difference between life or death or who knows what. So if I have the ability to have him 500 yards away and I can communicate with him and still get it, instead of saying, oh man, if I wish I had my remote, then I'm going to have the remote collar on him, right? Because this is the thing, we don't need it, but it sure as hell is convenient, just like power steering, right? You don't need power steering. In fact, back in the day, people didn't drive cars with power steering, right? But driving cars now without power steering, people would laugh at you and be like, why? Of course I can drive a car without power steering. I'm strong enough, but why the hell would I, right? Of course I can ride a horse bareback. I can, like, well, I actually can't, right? But like if I was like a horse trainer and stuff, I'd probably be a badass. Like I can train a dog with a freaking strawberry. I don't need all these tools. That's me, right? But if I'm teaching my clients, am I going to teach them how to train a dog with a strawberry, or am I going to give them tools to make their job easier? So a lot of the tools that we use are to make our lives easier. Sometimes it's convenient, sometimes it can hurt you in other areas. I often see questions where people will be asked like, well, what if you didn't have like a remote? What if, like, would you be able to train a dog? Hell yeah, that's how I train dogs. Like I don't need any of that. Give me like a slip lead and I'm set. But the thing is, it's like I'm gonna be fine. It's like I fear for people that rely on tools so heavily that they can't train a dog without it. Like I'll be set, but it would really, really suck for the average client who has a 9-to-5 job, who doesn't train dogs every day, who doesn't have the timing that we have and stuff. So the tools really help that, right? And that's pretty much it. The tools are just the language. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my guy Gus on the treadmill, and then I'm going to start working Timu here in a little bit. I'll take like one more question, and then, what's up, buddy? And then we'll be good from here. Come here. Appreciate the hearts as always. Thank you so much. What other questions do we have, guys? Please. Good. Look at the big guy. See the face. See the face. And my man Gus. Let's see the questions. Good. No more questions? Well, all right. I think, hope you guys really appreciated that. Fish, what's going on? Coming a little late to the scope. If you have any dog behavior questions, I'll answer one real quick. Protocol for coming off of food. Catherine, did you just finish watching the Periscope? The entire Periscope was talking about the process of how I did that. I'll probably do a session tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'm actually going to be taking a train to Albany, so I might do a scope on there. Soko's coming with me, and then taking a flight to Messina, New York, which is where my in-laws are from. So I'm flying in on Thursday, and then I'm flying back into the city on Saturday. So I literally have Friday to kind of hang out there, but it's better than nothing, for sure. Grateful for that. Catherine, go back and listen to how I explained the process for everything that we did. It explains it better than I can explain it now, because we spoke about how I appreciate it, Bear, how we teach the recall first. Yeah, catch that. That's gonna set you up for sure. I really think that breaking down how I teach out, and I'm not sure how other people teach it, but having certain things in place set first is going to get you a different reaction, a more enthusiastic reaction, a sure shot, knowing that your dogs can do other things first before jumping into that, before you challenge them with that different type of pressure. Make sure that they can actually come to you with type of pressure as well. And that's pretty much it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, I will see you next time.